But children should be told that there is within them a spark, a something near their heart center, located near their heart center, which is in fact what moves from life to life. It is the real them, their body, their thoughts, their minds, their emotions, their passions. These are all instruments of the psychic being, of the soul, and that they should make an effort to locate, find, nurture, be in contact with their soul. I'm going to speak about the education principles that we follow here in Auroville. But before that, I'll give you a little idea of what is special and different about the yoga of Sri Aurobindo. Sri Aurobindo created an ashram in Pondicherry, helped by the mother. And he had this vision of living a spiritual life in life itself, in life and matter. Most spiritual practices are done away from life, whether it is in India or in the European tradition. People separate themselves from normal life. Here was an experiment where everything was considered spiritual. The divine or the unknowable, something that we can't express, is in everything. And the expression of that, a full expression of that in your life, is what was being attempted in the yoga of Sri Aurobindo, which he practiced at the ashram in Pondicherry. In 1968, a more broader experiment was started called Auroville. It was a township where the conditions of admission were less stringent. One could leave a family life, etc. And the objective was more to have people from all over the world live together and demonstrate by the principles that Sri Aurobindo and Mother enunciate a kind of living human unity. So in the ashram, people are provided all types of work. There are all kinds of activities. Everything that happens in normal life also happens there. There is, but life is simple. At a material level, it is simple. And you are given what you need. But if you need, for your work, let's say you need a sophisticated music instrument, you will be provided that. So it caters to all aspects of your needs, not just the economic aspect. This was one major difference, that he moved away from what is currently all over the world. The economic pressures make that the most important part of life. Here, for us, while the economic activity is necessary and important, it is not the only aspect of life. There are many other aspects to life. Now we'll see how this translates itself into school education. So the school education also, we call it an integral education. It means it caters, unlike a normal school, which is really focused on the syllabus being given by the board and to score high marks in that board exam, which is mainly, in spite of all efforts, it still remains a lot of memorization. For us, knowing facts, knowing certain processes is not the important part of what we hope to achieve in a school. We want to develop certain faculties in the students, and I will enumerate them as we go along. The subject matter or the learning of the facts is not that important. It is more important to develop certain capacities. So let's start with physical education. In a normal school, physical education is recognized, but very few schools have the ability to offer uh, proper facilities. It is very rich schools only that can offer playgrounds and sports equipment, gymnasiums, swimming pools. And so for us, physical education is a very important component of both school life as well as life onward. In fact, we see education as unending. It is not compartmentalized into school, college, and then the rest of working life. Education is a continuous growth of one's personality. So physical education is currently a well developed science, and those schools which can afford it should have a proper physical education curriculum that and give sufficient time. Very often, I know of schools that may give one period a week. That is not enough. That is not giving it the appropriate weightage that is needed. And again, it should not be competitive games. It is not that the school wants to have a reputation as the best football team or the best cricket team. What is more important is that the children develop stamina, strength, flexibility, using all kinds of exercise forms, whatever is available, what staff is available, whether the gymnasts are available, yoga teachers, athletics, and all games. Anything and everything is useful in developing a good physical education. From the physical, I would move to what we call the vital, which in ordinary parlance would mean the sensory development. This is not so common to develop, let's say, all the senses. The senses through which we take in information. Our eyes, our nose, our ears, sense of taste, touch. All these can be trained and developed. For the visual part, there are many games and exercises available. But for the other senses, they are not. And we try to develop our own exercises, train the children in their senses. So this is one part of the vital education. Another part of vital education is developing the aesthetic being, a sense of beauty, a sense of form, sense of color combinations. Again, there are exercises by which you can practice these senses. This is a sense which, the more you practice it, the more you will develop it. If there are people at your home who have these capacities, then it is likely that you will pick up things like this from your relatives or friends. But if they are not there, it won't happen. So this is a conscious development of the sensory development and the aesthetic. After this, what constitutes character development or the vital education is what we call character development. Now, this is again not much focused on. In a normal school, there are rules of the game. You are punished if you don't do something, and out of fear, you do it. This is mostly what is called character development. In our schools, we do not use punishment or any kind of fear as a way of getting students to do things. Rather, the teacher explains to the children why he needs to do, let's say, a common thing, why a student may not be doing his homework. You can either have a set of punishments, or the teacher can have a dialogue with the student, try to understand what is his problem, and explain to them, appeal to their goodwill, appeal to their own sense of self appreciation, and get them to work voluntarily, not out of fear, not out of some kind of sanctions or punishment or suppression or withdrawal of certain privileges. We don't need to use these methods for character development. Along with talking to the students, it would be good for students to have role models. Usually, kids do have role models, either for a young boy, it may be a sports person, for a girl, it may be an actress, or whatever. And over the span of your life, these may change. So that is important to have some role model, some idol, a person you idolize. And you push your personality in the positive achievement. We have a few images of activities at schools. This is a photo of a program we called Awareness Through the Body. It's a set of exercises that help you to focus on your body and be conscious of the movements happening in your body. This is the same. It's a part of the body awareness program. Same, this is also the body awareness program. It's a very unique program developed in Auroville itself. Again, this is another exercise. It helps you to focus on your body. You have to keep still, keep the candle straight and burning. And this requires a lot of concentration on your body. This is a crafts workshop. We had some artists from Rajasthan who knew tie and dye. They came, and our children, we took off some time from the regular classes and learned tie dyeing, batik work with them. This is the same tie dye. We have a Russian lady who's a clay teacher. This is some of the works that the children do with her. It's clay modeling. Another thing we did sometimes do is during the assembly time, we invite special teachers. So we had a program for learning different scripts, where we invited people who explained to the teachers how different languages are written. So this lady is explaining the Persian script. She's an Iranian lady. She is Chinese. She's showing us the Chinese script. This is the Arabic script, and this is the Hebrew script. Like that, we had a number of interesting activities, and we keep changing this. Whoever we get. So I was at character development. This is very important. And the teacher himself or herself can be a role model. That is the best. Children can really be taken up by the personality of the teacher and want to be like the teacher. So the idea of some sort of a role model, whether outside or within the school, amongst the teachers, is important for character development. And the teachers need to be very, very sensitive to what is happening with the children. Help them to understand the movements that go on within them in terms of their own passions, their own desires, their own instincts, and learn how to first observe them, see them, and control them. Character development is essentially about being able to control the various movements that go on within you and to recognize And this is one of the best gifts a teacher can give to a student, is really to want to learn at any point of time, wherever they are. I always give the example of supposing one is stuck at a railway station, the train is late by half an hour. You may either get bored for the next half an hour till the train comes and your purpose is achieved, or you may find it quite interesting to look around what is going on the platform. It may be of interest to you. You may want to see the different types of dresses people are wearing, where they have come, what they could be doing, things like that. This is what I mean by vital education. Then we come to what is called, and traditionally it is called mental education. Mental education is normally understood, as I said before, by learning the subject matter that is given as per the curriculum and being able to reproduce it properly in an exam. Uh, but here again, we focus on developing certain capacities of the mind rather than memorizing facts. We are more interested in having the students learn to concentrate, for example. Now, there are various exercises for concentration. One commonly used in our schools is you give a flower to each child. Let's say it's put in a bottle, and you keep it in front of you. And then the child is asked to just look at the flower and think of nothing else but the flower. And it can start with 1 minute, can be increased to 2 minutes. Slowly, the level of concentration increases. So, this is one of the many exercises that are available for concentration. Another aspect of the mind that is important to develop is widening the mind. By this, we mean that whatever is the subject, to look at it from many different points of view. Let's say we are discussing democracy in a social science class. It should be possible to see not only the good points of democracy, but also the flip side, or to compare it to other systems of governance and the advantages of other systems. Like that, it widens your mind. You are not stuck to just one viewpoint. Widening the mind is another important part of mental development. A third aspect of mental development is control of the mind. We should be able to control what comes into our minds. You know, the mind is an open field. It gathers thoughts from everywhere and anywhere. Whoever is around you, near you, even if they are not speaking to you, just the fact that you are in the presence of somebody, you may imbibe some ideas from that person. Good ideas, bad ideas, whatever. But you are an open field which allows all kinds of thought vibrations to flow into you. It is important to learn how to control what you want to think and when you want to, and to push out all kinds of undesirable thoughts. This is important. And the last thing that we practice in our schools is mental silence. If one can learn to be quiet, not just physically quiet, but that means not speaking, but actually quiet in the sense that the mind is at rest, is silent, is at complete rest. This is good for the mind, like any type of rest is good for the body, same for the mind. It needs a rest, and mental silence is a good practice. It also allows higher thought forms like inspiration, intuition to enter you if you can silence your mind to the flow of thoughts that are going on inside you all the time. So, this is important. And finally, the last aspect of our education system is the psychic. Psychic is, in Indian terms, we call it Atma, our soul. To be in touch with the soul was a key element of Sri Aurobindo and Mother's Yoga. It is that part of your being that, if you're in touch with it, the guidance of that is the sure way of living your life. So, to be in touch with your psychic being was a very important part. Now, there are uh, many methods, and one can say no method of doing this. The best method is to be in touch with people who are themselves in touch with their own psyche. If your teachers, if your staff are spiritually inclined, this will help the students also to be in touch with their soul. So contact with such people is one of the most important ways, being in touch with your psyche. But children should be told that there is within them a spark, a something near their heart center, located near their heart center, which is in fact what moves from life to life. It is the real them, their body, their thoughts, their minds, their emotions, their passions. These are all instruments of the psychic being, of the soul, and that they should make an effort to locate, find, nurture, be in contact with their soul. This is important. Those who are in touch with their psychic being are always in a wider consciousness. They help other people. They are not egoistic. They have a much more universal way of looking at things. So this is important. So these are the various faculties that we try to develop in our students through their many years in school. Of course, all this is done through the normal curriculum. It's not that languages and maths and science and social science are not being taught. They are also being taught. But the focus is really on developing all these various faculties that I have enumerated. A few more things I would like to say about the schools, how you will find it a little different from other schools. The atmosphere of a school is important. It is important that, and the atmosphere I'm talking about is at many levels. Well, let's start with the physical. The whole physical ambience of the school should be clean, neat, organized, beautiful. It should be pleasing to the eye. As soon as you enter the school, uh, you feel you are in a very neat and clean, nice environment. If you have gardens, they should be kept nicely. If you have play fields, they should be maintained properly. Your furniture is arranged properly, is maintained properly. Things like that. So the whole physical environment is uplifting because it is beautiful. The second is the emotional climate of the school. In a normal school, you will find that a certain kind of distance is maintained between teachers and students. There is a very often, though not always, an element of fear in the students towards the teachers and the other staff of the school. We eliminate this completely. There is no fear in our students towards their teachers and the administrators. On the contrary, there is a mutual respect and a friendship between them, and a very easygoing relationship. Also, the school administration makes sure that The bullies of the school are kept in check, and they don't bully the weaker students or the younger students. So students live without any fear at all. And in fact, so far as our school, the village school is concerned, they have in their homes there is quite a lot of fear. They get beaten by their parents. It's a normal practice. It's nothing special, and they find it different, very different, when they come to the school. But it's a totally different environment. So the emotional climate is kept very friendly, very loving, very caring. And this is very important for the nurturing of the soul of a child. As soon as there is any element of fear, the soul of a child shrinks and hides itself. But when there is a climate of love and beauty around, it begins to flower and come up. A third environment of the school I would call the cultural environment. I showed you some images of how we did this course on scripts. This is not part of any curriculum. It is not required for the students to know this type of information. But it's a part of their general awareness of the world around them. So we get all kinds of interesting people, usually during our morning assembly or at any other time, to address the students. Either they perform something, or they show them something, or they talk to them about something. We also have a lot of storytelling, interesting stories, which have some examples, or they have a kind of a didactic purpose to the stories. Then the last thing I wanted to say was the discipline that needs to be maintained when there's a large number of children in the school. We try to inculcate a self discipline amongst our students. The rules that we want to follow are simple, and the consequences of not following the rules are also quite simple, known to the students. For example, if somebody is disturbing all the time, they are just taken out of the class into some place which is designated for this purpose, maybe a library or somewhere. They're just removed from the class. That's all. Essentially, they learn the idea that these rules are meant for their own benefit, and that if they try to break them, they are not doing anything smart or anything that others will appreciate or make them heroes for. So over the years, it's easy to establish this kind of self-discipline, and it works pretty well. Lastly, I would say if if a student leaves the school knowing himself or herself, knowing what are his or her strengths or weaknesses, knowing the kind of movements that go through the person, and knowing how to control them, knowing what he or she wants from life, and having the willpower, having developed that willpower to attain that, the school would have done a pretty good job. This is in a nutshell. I have told you in about half an hour something that we can talk of for hours. I would now like to open the discussion.
In our country, due to
Yes.
absence of character development and
Huh.
discipline, we give more emphasis in future life on individual profit than collective profit. And we also lack enterprise and innovation. Do you assess how is your students faring in future life as regards their character and whether they are more innovative than other students?
Yes, over the years, we have seen that wherever they go, they are noticed as something that they have something different about them. And in fact, many of them are asked when they go to college or somewhere, where have you studied? So there is something different about them, and we have noticed that. And in life also, those who start working, they are all doing quite well. In Auroville, students from our schools, also from Udavi, they are noticed. They are, many people have told me that you are doing a good job with these kids.
My question is that one, for example, when we look at our gurukuls and when we look at the current education system in South Korea and Japan, we see that to bond the children with the school, the children are involved in the administration, not really to run the school, but for example, to let them help with upkeep of the grounds, for example, with the cleaning activities. This helps the children understand that, yes, this is my school and I need to keep it clean, neat, pretty. For example, they engage them in horticulture classes so they can understand how to tend flowers. So, are there similar activities that you're doing in this school? That would be the first question. And the second question is that while we understand that you must be following the curriculum that the government of India has given, are we doing, and I can see that you're doing things beyond it, but is there any dharmic study which is happening? For example, reading of the scriptures, not just limited to Hindu Dharma for that matter, even others. Are we doing anything similar to that?
No, the first question, yes, we have various activities by which the students really feel engaged with the school. There is constant discussion with them about their lunch program or anything else that they may find wrong with the school. There is a complaint box kept available to them. They can write and drop whatever they feel like. There is a morning before school starts. At the senior level, we have a huge courtyard between two rows of buildings, and that needs to be. And there's a lot of trees there, and over the day, a lot of leaves drop, and so everybody has a broom, and we sweep the whole place up together. When 40, 50 kids together broom sweep the courtyard, it takes not more than 5 minutes. And it's a little game, and the work gets done. So like that, they have understood very much in many other ways also that this place is really, it's their school. And it is for them. We have nothing to get out of it, which is different from their interest. That part is indeed done well. The second one is about whether we teach scriptures or not. Is it? Not really. Not really. I was telling a serialized version of the Ramayana story or the Mahabharata story or various other stories, but not as a form of religion or dharma, but more as the story itself and the situations that the story brought up. And with every episode, I would throw up a question to them which deals with life. You know, Mahabharata is full of situations which occur all the time in life. And it was a way to engage them in real life issues, but not from the point of view of dharma. No. Or, no, we have never really either, even Mother and Sri Aurobindo, we don't really try to explain to them in detail. Because they're small kids. And so we don't try to push any dharmic knowledge on them.
The activities, the pictures we have shown are not really comprehensive at all. Apart from this, there is swimming, there is horse riding for some students, there is carpentry, there is ceramics, and the ATB, Awareness Through Body, has an entire room like a gymnasium dedicated to it, where there are ropes hanging from all kinds of places. And for swings, I have actually seen, because Auroville, this Udavi school is in a very small village called Idian Chavali, about 15 kilometers from Pondicherry. And it's just a combination of jungles and villages. And there are these old ancient banyan trees and peepal trees with their roots hanging. So you can actually see them swinging on the trees like Tarzan. In real life, I saw that.
I think the children are very lucky to have somebody dedicated like you. And I've seen these photographs, they have so much of space available. Since we are in a cosmopolitan city, there's hardly any place for kids to play around these days. Your kids are really lucky. Now, I just want to ask you one or two small things. During this COVID time, when we are unable to get the children to school, how are you managing?
We are not managing. The school is more or less closed now.
Okay, then how do you keep in
We did manage by preparing worksheets, and we would somehow find a way to distribute the worksheets to them, their homes. Because the school and their homes are not so far from each other. And they would return the worksheets after doing the work, and like that, there was an exchange between the teacher and the students.
Some of your kids must be going and appearing for SSLC exams and things like that, or CBS exams. If so, any special coaching for these kids? Or
no, they appear for the Tamil Nadu board. This particular school that I am talking about is linked to the Tamil Nadu board. And they managed to do well without any special coaching.
And you have paid teachers, or are they all volunteers? I think the lady said standing there appears to be a volunteer. Anyhow, people from
the lady whom you are seeing on the screen, she's an Iranian lady. She is a member of Auroville. She's, of course, volunteers. So that is an advantage that we have. We can tap into a lot of resources which are free. I don't have to pay her anything to come. Happy to come and do what she did. But our normal teachers, half of them are paid, and half of them are members of Auroville who are supported by Auroville.
You also mentioned one small point which I noticed. You said the some kids get beaten up at home, and when they come home come to school, they feel very happy. Could you just touch upon this aspect of getting beaten up at home?
See, it is very common in the village culture to just slap a child, for example, for something small he may have done. They don't think twice about it. If we try to tell them don't do this, they find it very strange. It is their culture. The culture is like that. To just hit a child for any small thing, and the bigger children will beat the smaller ones, and like that. It's a very unenlightened village situation. So they belong to that. And there is nothing I can do to change that. All I can do is create a different environment when they enter our compound.
Do we meet the parents anytime?
We meet the parents, yes, of course.
Interaction with the parents?
Yes, we do meet the parents. But they will not understand many things. So there is difficult to talk to.
Their stationery and things they are supplied by Auroville, notebooks and pencils and things like that.
No. Their parents are these days even a coolie earns about 500-600 rupees a day. So or a carpenter, they are earning 800-900 rupees a day. They can afford all this. At that level, it is not. Only our fee structure is very nominal. The fee is about 300-400 rupees per month, and there's another 200-300 rupees for their nutrition.
So
our fee structure.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Thank you.
I have a little sharing here when he was saying that in the morning everybody comes together before the assembly. That includes the teachers and the principal who come and clean the school first and the grounds.